Let me tell you about the most terrifying experience I had during my college years, a camping trip that still gives me chills to this day. It was my sophomore year, and our biology department organized this weekend field study in the remote woods of Northern California. Our teacher, Professor Henderson, was this oddly charismatic man who joined the faculty just that semester. He had this way of making everyone feel comfortable, yet something about him always felt off. You know that feeling when your instincts are screaming at you, but you can't explain why. There were 12 of us students on that trip, all excited about getting extra credit for what we thought would be a fun weekend of collecting specimens and studying local ecosystems. The first day went normally enough, setting up camp, marking research sites, the usual stuff. But things started getting weird on the second night. I woke up around 2 a.m. to use the bathroom and spotted Professor Henderson at the edge of our campsite, digging. Just digging in the middle of the night. When he noticed me, he smiled and said he was preparing for tomorrow's soil sampling. Something about his smile made my blood run cold. The next morning, 2 students were missing. Professor Henderson seemed unusually calm about it, saying they probably went for an early morning hike. But their sleeping bags hadn't been slept in, and their phones were still in their tents. As we were about to call the rangers, one of the students found a news article on their phone despite the spotty service. The headline made my heart stop. Serial killer professor still at large? There was Henderson's photo under a different name. He'd been moving from college to college across the country, and students had been disappearing at each stop. What happened next was like a blur. Someone had the presence of mind to send our location to the rangers, while the rest of us created a distraction about finding some rare plant specimen. Within hours, police helicopters were circling our campsite. Henderson tried to run but was caught. They later found evidence of his previous victims buried near other college campgrounds, those 2 missing students. Thankfully, they were found alive, tied up in a cave about a mile from our camp. Henderson had been planning to make them his next victims. You know what's the scariest part? In all our previous classes, he'd been teaching us about decomposition and soil chemistry. We'd literally been learning about the perfect conditions for hiding. Well, you get the picture. Sometimes I still have nightmares about that smile he gave me in the darkness, knowing what he was really preparing for. These days, I always tell people to trust their instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And maybe think twice about going on remote field trips with professors you barely know.